plan for the next years. I'm making now a short introduction into projects, location-based projects in Germany, and then I invite you back again on the stage, 3 people, including James and Europa, Steffen Kottkamp, and Olli Eberlei of the Holo Café, who are already have been working multiplayer in Germany. So what we have developed in Germany is one solution from Ludwigsburg. It's know-how based on Google Project Tango, which is inside-out tracking, multiplayer, which will be finished for next year's FNX. He's sadly not here, Benjamin, but because he has to work too hard to finish it. Then we have by Martin Demand and Vinny Christiansen a mix of 360 video and immersive theater, which is a great project because it's really involves many actors and kind of like different POVs enhanced by VR, and it's really good. I love immersive theater, and it's also next year's premiere. It's in Berlin. She's Maren and Winnie are here, so are you here? Ah, there! Yeah, that's Maren. So if you have more questions, please contact her. It's a great project. Then we have another, it's like a VR escape room in development, also for next year, which I'm very curious about because there are many good parallels of escape rooms and multiplayer location-based projects we all are, I love very much, in which there are many parallels for the Void, or the psychology and group adventure which enthralls me, which I'm very enthusiastic about, as well as James, that you can overcome only hurdles together with power. They're also developing for next year. And Sven Heberlein, who's developing it, he's also here, I guess, yes, Sven? Yeah, he's here, so if you want to talk to him, I can introduce him. So this is in Germany. Then we are Wonderland is, to be honest, it's very similar to the Void, only we add eye tracking, and we also want to start the adventure. We're in development of the prototype, and start a team in Germany and a development team also in China to also be able to speed up the tempo, because James, we all see how much work is involved. And the reason why I'm also working with SMI eye tracking in Berlin, which is absolutely great, to be able to look into each other's eyes in the experience, in the group experience, and if the non-playing character sees where he is we are looking at. And a nice side effect, SMI is having this on the list of qualities is that you have forbidden rendering, so you can beef up, or you can use the power, the computing power better in the way that only when you look at it will be the high resolution rendering, and so you can have a very good results even with mobile. Also the idea is to have 3 dream decks for different genres, like kids, family entertainment, director driven, and a home deck. We also want to start at home with Google Tango, that you start an adventure at home, tweak your avatar on the mobile, and continue the adventure on the dream decks. That's also the idea, to start something that will be kind of like hardware agnostic in the end, and only concentrate on good content. And because if you build a cinema and don't have content, you're lost. That's why we only want to develop 20% own content, and 40% kind of invite the best VR developers to change or port single player to multiplayer. And another 20% work together like Void with cinema companies to start adventures in VR, parallel synchronously with film premieres. So here in Germany we're producing now, not me, but Christian Becker, Jim Knopf, Jim Button, and it would be a really good thing to develop a Jim Button multiplayer in VR. Yeah, that's this. And I have to invite you now back on James. Are you still here? James? because we would like to start the panel now with James of the Void and Europapark, Steffen Kottkamp. Can I introduce you? Is Steffen here? Please, Steffen, come on stage. Oh, James is back. And of the Volo Café, Oliver Eberlei. Let's sit down. Oh, wait. Maybe this, or you can pass it on. It's okay. What can I introduce maybe? I was visiting the Oberpark, Steffen, and what I really love about Oberpark, I mean, it's like his dream. You were developing with the Oberpark, the art coaster, which is a roller coaster, where you wear goggles and you fly. I mean, even the phase when the roller coaster is starting slow, you tell a story. And I like that a lot. What I also like about that is the idea of doing cross-platform content, that you have a story you start on the roller coaster, then you go to the 4D cinema and have IP, which you next year have an animation group, which is working perfectly. And of course, merchandise. Maybe you can welcome, maybe you can tell us more about
just a short, quick introduction. Exactly what kind of chart you prefer to take. So this is the Europapark. It's located in the south of Germany. Maybe some of you have been there. And it's all a family business. It's owned by one family, and they own this business for the last 260 years. So they started building some kind of wood things. In 1921, they started to build their first wooden roller coaster. In 1975, they opened the Europapark. And so the business went on and on and on and on. And what we did is we introduced a new company to this Mac, the family is called Mac, to this Mac Cosmos. And it's the Mac Media. We are developing all the media stuff for it. And then we thought, okay, we have to deal with VR, because VR is kind of a tech for a business model like an attraction park. Because the promise of VR sometimes is stay at home, you can have every joy and every fun at home, but if your business model is people will have to leave their homes and visit an attraction park, so we had to build something with VR. So we decided we combine the one thing we have and you don't have in your garden, and it's a roller coaster. So we combined a roller coaster with VR technology, synchronized it perfectly into this 1.5 years almost, and then we introduced it to our guests, and that's what we are doing today. So listen to this.
Hey, we're going! Alright! This animation is exactly what I was seeing through my headset. Sensors on the wheels constantly tell the headset where it is on the track. This means that the pictures and the G-forces I experience sync up perfectly. Oh, it's amazing! Every swoop or dive I felt on the ride happened simultaneously in my display. It worked so well! And it led to some genuinely surreal moments. I was feeling the G-forces that only come with a real roller coaster, but the virtual reality took that experience to a whole new level. Obviously, the technology isn't limited to elephants and mice. You could be flying from a cannon or fly a fighter jet just by changing the animation. It was incredible. I like it. I've got to say, that's amazing. Fantastic, you've added the dimension to the ride. It's brilliant. With people demanding ever harder, faster, and more exciting thrills from their roller coaster rides, it seems the world of technology has found an answer. Brilliant.
Okay, this was the BBC visiting us, and they tested our VR coaster system. And the one man who sat beside the host of the actual show is Thomas Wagner, Professor Thomas Wagner. He was the inventor of this system. He comes from the University of Kaiserslautern, and I think perfectly matched because we are one of the 5 biggest roller coasters manufacturers in the world, and we own our own theme park. So it was a perfect combination of bringing VR to existing roller coasters. And this is how we call it today. Our call it today, it's Coastiality. Of course, it's roller coaster and virtual reality. So this is Coastiality. And we distribute it all over the world. So we transported our own park in the Europa Park in the south of Germany, almost 3,000 people every day with VR technology, and all over the world. We introduced the system to Six Flags in the United States and stuff like this. It's about 25 to 30,000 people every day. Most of them have their first contact to virtual reality, so it's a little bit of a tricky business. And we believe that what no one knows is we sold to the different park owners and the roller coaster owners not only VR technology to pick up their existing rides, but we sold them cinemas on the ride. So this means it's all a question of licensing of content. So content will be king. In the next years, people will demand new content for all these newly equipped VR coaster roller coasters, and I think this is the business of the future. So I think, okay, this is it. Thank you very much for coming with me.
Thank you. I'm making a dissolve from Europe, really like whole family business, huge part, and it's working really well. And James, who is really trying to, conquering the world with location-based, I'm waiting, you said 50 places next year. Okay, 2018, 50 places. Eva, like you said, what the heck? We don't have a Chinese or whatever Arab investor. We have, how much money did you have? Well, little money. We just started some factories last weekend. Maybe you can tell something about that.
Yeah. So we just opened the Holler Café in Düsseldorf. The Holler Café is, I have the same reaction that every VR developer had when they use it for the first time. So this is a location-based thing, and I want to develop for this like forever in the future. I developed the Vive game for the launch, and kind of firsthand found out that there's just nobody having the headsets right now. So developing content for this for the home market is a tough proposition right now. So that's why 2 of my friends and myself we came together and said, let's just make this so we build content, people can come to us. And while these guys basically create the theme parks of the future, we have slightly smaller goals and just basically create the bowling alley of the future, which for us is much more easy to do, but also really fun because we can at the moment prototype really heavily with new content types. And yeah, we just opened the first location this Saturday, had our first launch event there. And so you can see the opening right there, and this is basically how our space looks. So we have 2 Holo suits, how we call it. So it's a Holler Café, kind of like the holiday. And a Holo suit is basically a 20 square meter space where we have 4 Vives present, and we develop our own local multiplayer VR games for that. So the 4 people on this suit can see each other and interact with, and play the games together. So we have right now cooperative games, and we're also developing competitive games for the future, and basically just trying different types of games out. Because I heavily admit that we're coasting on the VR wave right now. So basically 95% of the people that came by the last 2 days, which were our first days, never used a headset before, so it's super easy to impress them.
Evangelist.
Yeah.
You told me you made 3 games yourself. Could you tell me about content, which kind of games and how do you react?
Sure. So the first one is the most easy one, so it's a shooter, of course, because it's, the shooter is the lowest entropy of genres for VR. It's point and shoot, that's what you can do with the Vive, so it's very easy to develop. The other one is basically the one that I told earlier that I won. It's a puzzle game that I developed for the Vive, and we basically made a multiplayer version out of it. So in that game, a ray of light comes down, and you basically have to redirect that light through mirrors and magnets, stuff like that, and arrange it so that the light is touching all the gold pieces. And we made a multiplayer version of that. And the third game is the most fun right now. It's if you know the game Space Team on your mobile phone. It's basically 4 people command a spaceship and throw techno, like sci-fi words at each other, like commands they have to that they have to solve in a short amount of time. So a prompt basically tells you flux capacitor to 3, but I don't have the controls for that, so I have to shout out that command to my teammates so that they have to push the right buttons or turn the right lever and stuff like that. So it's very loud, noisy, and chaotic game that we call Chaos Command. Those are the games that we have right now. We also, because people come in just alone, so we license some of the Vive games to show there. Just basically people heard about the lab and want to try it out, and heard about Jump Simulator, so they can play that as well. But the multiplayer games is really what we develop.
You just told me that kids,
The features of the games that we have there.
that people want to have their birthday party.
Yeah, surprisingly. I mean, we have a bunch of birthday party, just people asking us if that's a possibility. So we have a bunch of reservations right now, and thought that since we just got that and we didn't thought about it before, we will develop 1 or 2 more kid-friendly games. And all our games are rated either 6 or 12 plus, so that's fine, but I think we can still do more. And the cool part about this is because people are there in short bursts. To develop content for that is really easy. We develop content in ways we can take the tech from the first game and use it in the second and just build basically bootstrap.
Thank you. I have a question to all 3 of you, because also for me it's really luxurious to have to build something like that. It's a great experience, but it's luxury in the sense of it's expensive. It's expensive time, work, and money. And I was asking all of you, I was pitching into a partner here, and we said, hey, we need to get 100 people through, otherwise it will not work. Not because we want to earn more money, but if you make advertising for something, you don't want to have more people. So it must scale something in order to also to make it cheaper. For me, it's tough to hear that so many people are paying $50 for 10 minutes. So how can we have a wonderful group adventure experience and make it a bit more affordable?
I think there's going to be a period of time, just like any technology comes out, where things are just more expensive to do. But paying $30 to $50 for an experience versus buying a $2,000 computer instead of $100 it's a very small kind of obstacle to the process. There's really no barrier to entry when it comes to these location-based games. I feel like we have a period of time where that is what really exists. I mean, I would say 80% of the people that come through the Void experience in New York have never even flown an HMV. They don't have the resources or whatever to be able to buy something that they can go try out. But they come to the Void because it's easy for them to come in and purchase a ticket and go out and do an experience. And if you parallel that with how theaters kind of evolved over time, people pay money to go to these amazing theaters that have content on these screens. And then over time, when content was created and you educated everybody what this is, then people want to take it home. So you build televisions to take home and view that content. So in that case, I feel like VR got a little ahead of itself when we started selling TVs to people before they understood what televisions were or what content was on these things. If you want to parallel that. So I feel like the location-based VR and reality experiences will be kind of the future for a little while where we educate and create content.
For education, what I learned from China that was so great that they are developing so much hardware and content for education. This could be also a way of working with the education industry to co-develop and co-finance content. And what is the new next strategy for this beyond VR posters?
Our next step is making this idea a little bigger. So we are based on the fraction part. So of course we have a location-based attraction. For us as well, it is it's big hype now. This VR thing and every kind of VR technology. People are very keen on doing something with it. We could present them almost anything, and they were very excited by it for the first time. But the second time, the quality has to rise up. So when we introduced this VR technology to our roller coasters in our park, we had purchased an upcharge for it because we had queue lines longer than 3 or 4 hours because everyone wanted to experience it. So just to limit it a little bit, we had to take an account charge. Normally, one of the cash models for attraction parties pay once and get all the attractions free, but it doesn't work for VR at the moment. Maybe next year or the year after it will change when everyone is familiar to this new technology. Our next steps is, one thing is to make the idea a little bigger. That's why we programmed the app where you can watch all the content you can see on the poster at home. The cardboard, the very cheap technology. You don't need to book your home booking with thousands of dollars or euros. So it's very easy to see what you can get. The next step of this will be, okay, if you see a roller coaster belongs to this Oceanity group, you can choose what kind of content you want to see. So we are able to give an experience to the whole family. Daddy does something different what mommy does, or what someone daughter does. So you can choose at home, and I think this also is a little bit this kind of a business model because then you have to pay a little bit for let's say 50 cents or something like this to choose a different content. And one thing is very important as well, VR technology now is mostly an isolated experience. So we have to open it like what does it or like someone else does it here. That people can interact with each other, even in a roller coaster. We eliminated every kind of virtual audio because we wanted that people can hear each other scream and talk to each other and share the experience they have with this new technology because they have the advantage. Everyone sits in the first row with a virtual reality, but you sit there alone. So we have to deal with this.
I mean, that's the main and only motive for me to step into this field is the interaction and the group experience.
I just wanted to add something to that too, because I think one of the reasons why it's so expensive right now is the equipment is big. We're still trying to figure out how to suit people up and suit people down. When you walk into a center in the future and you throw on a pair of glasses, that's when it's a little cheaper, a little more affordable. If you're talking about a ticket price to be able to do. I'd like to say something about the content in general, and this kind of goes back to my presentation about creating experiences that are just not attainable. If you look at even just simply deep sea diving, does anybody know how long it takes to actually be able to be certified to go to the depths that they go and risk their lives to be able to see the creatures that they get to see? By bringing in professionals in the industry that actually do that type of work and creating simulations that map that much one-to-one. If I look at what it would take to get that certification, to buy all the equipment, and spend all the time to be able to be a professional to do that, that cost is way higher than a $30 ticket to go experience something that's close to what they have. If you think about wingsuit jumping, for one, I want to do that. I think that would be amazing, but I will never do that in my lifetime because my wife would kill me if I didn't kill myself. It's extremely risky. You have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars and 500 jumps in an airplane with a parachute before you can even certify to jump off a cliff with a wingsuit. In the void or virtual reality simulation, you can bring in professionals to do that all of the time and be able to create something that the average user can go and experience that in their lifetime. It's comparable to the real world. And that's really fun and would justify any real marriage.
I'm not against the hydrogen. I mean, it's just I want to make. We all don't know how to finance good content yet. There's no play. For example, when you work with a film company like Ghostbusters, it's really it's not clear yet if the production company pays for the VR experience or you or who. Yeah, it's not. There's no business model yet for content production. For example, what kind of strategy beyond the price, the ticket price, and your price? What are you going to do? How do you finance your games? It's expensive.
Well, we'll see. right now ourselves with a team of 3 people, so we have to take every help that we can get. And basically every game that we develop is chosen so that we can use the tag in the following games and go from there. And then regarding the graphics assets, to be honest, we're using the Unity assets so heavily right now because nobody who's come to our store has seen these assets ever before, so that's fine. So we can basically have amazing looking 3D worlds and then basically just focus on creating great gameplay for that.
We also developed, we can test it from 5 on with some little eye tracking demo also with Unity assets. And the idea to give out an SDK for others to develop is great. Also, we spoke today about the same, like crowdsourcing stories and at the table, like a giant creating a story at home and then put it on your phone, go to Experience Center or to our Dream Lab and walk through the creation on your little table as a giant and do it with your friends. And that is so awesome. And you have a crowd knowledge and crowdsourcing and fantasy, you can invite some programmers, and that's really awesome. I would like to open up for the discussion if questions are here and to ask. So, anyone a question?
Can I ask the first one? So, I would like you, each of you, if you have, tell me what is the bleeding edge of what you're working at? What is the coolest, craziest, wildest new technology that you're plugging into the VR work that you do? And maybe a little bit about neuroscience, Jimmy?
We are working with putting together a board of advisors for that range from scientists and neuroscientists to come in and create new experiences and experiment with new technologies. Like I said, we're trying to create new illusions that emulate some things in the real world that are just not possible for people to do. I think those are the most exciting ones. For the Void specifically, we're innovating our stage environment to mimic any kind of environment that you want to go into. Our stages are actually, I didn't go into it in the presentation, but the attraction stages and dimension stages are completely configurable on the virtual reality side. So you don't actually have to move as many walls as you think. You can have a basic standard set of walls, but the way that we design the game allows you to have different configurations without having to move wall. So we can quite literally change the content every 5 minutes if we wanted to, and when the new world that you step into, I believe that world has got to be back in line with a completely new place in the exact same location. We've already done this. So I think the new stage effects and illusions that we're creating are probably the coolest stuff that we're working on.
And we are, our 3 things which are most important is eye tracking, that you can really look into each other's eyes, hand tracking with a wider field of view than in motion, as right now. And for the future, as research, personalize the experience that, for example, 70% is pre-scripted, 30% is infused by your existence, that you say, you have a little fill out what your preferences are, your favorite colors, your biography. You can say, tap my Facebook, and then go with 5 friends into the experience, go after them in the cafe and talk about that you saw their mother, or so meet some psychological friends you would never, and then you can talk about, because it's a book experience, and all the infusion of the biography is mixed with 4 other biographies. And I think this is really fascinating.
Yeah, I think one of the things to point out too that's great about the Void is we actually have a New York Times bestselling author, 14 times, his name is Tracy Hickman. He actually helped develop the Dungeons and Dragons game, and so he's helping create a new way of storytelling inside of hyper reality and virtual reality experiences that's like nothing I've ever seen before, where he's leading and guiding you through these places to create your own story. You basically pick up an environment and you as the character get to create your own story through these decisions that you make in the world. And it's a completely new way of creating a story and writing a story where when you leave the Void experience, you have your own story to tell. So the dinner conversation that would be great. And we believe in customizing that experience as much as possible for the end user to be able to have a personal intimate relationship with your avatar, with the world that you're going into, and being on the internet. That is extremely important. So those are just a few things.
Yeah, what kind of experience would you develop with funding?
With funding? Well, just bigger places. I mean, what we're doing, I mean, the leading edge right now, I mean, this all sounds amazing to everyone here, I guess. But what we found, I mean, the light blows people's minds already right now. It's the hardware that is out there right now is really amazing. We just all super jaded because we've seen it for 2 years or 3 years now. So even working with that is amazing to see people just being totally immersed in it, and yeah, we will stay on the cutting edge of hardware that's just too expensive for the whole market, but already out there. With just 3 people who know being our own hardware, it would be insane. But if we would have more funding, I mean, we would love to have just bigger spaces where people can play, because right now we have like 20 square meters for 4 players, which works with the Vive pretty well. But I mean, yeah, with RuneScape VR, you always want to have more space.
Let me point out, I mean, we saw the film China, 90% shooters, and that's really the self-reduction. What we see, even the tests on Valve, like Irrational Exuberance, there are so many tricky and great experimental and meditative articles about there. This is the spectrum which is now the glory and the gladness or the happiness I am feeling every time I test it. And on the other hand, we have this kind of like push for commercial adaptation, which is really sad. I don't know how we can break that spell. I don't know what you would say about it. Because there's so much good artistic.
One thing we are working on is one thing we haven't spoken about is formerly known as user-generated content. So we try to develop a kind of homepage where you can build up your own poster and then go to an attraction park and do it. So you saw the video for Pink Dragon, so you have a couple of different items and you can introduce it into your own VR ride. And we know that there is a huge community of roller coaster fans outside there. And this is not a freak show. I think a lot of the roller coaster lovers are inside this room here as well. This is not only an adrenaline thing, it's something people really love. So we believe in this. Okay, you can create your own ride. This is something that people want to do at home. They can prepare their visit to an attraction park, and then through the ride they can compare it with other rides and stuff like this. I think this is also a big, it's a big experience and it's a big market, and it's far away from creating just shooters and stuff like this.
And just before we close down, open up, which worlds do you want to visit? What are your dreams? I'd love to know where do you want to step in?
Really want someone to figure out a way to simulate zero gravity so that people can feel like they're going to space.
Flying? Ready?
No, not flying. The clue here. Space. Outer space.
Great.
Well, I can add something to that. There is a company in France, Iceberg Expert, I think. I'm not sure if that's something wrong. And they do the zero gravity flights with VR on. You know, plane where you do the parallel. So that's coming. My question here was, I know all of your projects, but kind of connected to what you just discussed, but how can you bring more of the social interactions in there? Also maybe cross-country, and you all mentioned it at some point, but do you have specific plans to expand on those? Because I think VR and social is such a good match.
Good question. I'll just first on this. I already explained a little bit about what we did already, because our thoughts were, okay, we have to fix everything visually and auditive for our guests when they do the VR coaster, the roller coaster VR thing, and then we realized, oh, this is not good. People are fears a little bit, and they want to hear each other, they want to feel each other. So the first step was to eliminate audio again. I think the next
without headphones,
without headphones. So I think the next thing is that you can see each other, that you communicate via a special technique. I think a lot of these things already happen somewhere else in the world, and I'm sure being interactive and being social is the element parts of VR technology. Using VR on a roller coaster it's a huge thing, but this is just a special thing because we don't have to deal with all these storytelling things by how can you bring the audience to turn back or doing stuff like this because a roller coaster goes always one direction. So it's obviously way you have to watch and what happens. But indeed, it is a social experience, and so you have to bring people together by a technique or by eliminating some techniques.
Well, while you're in the void, it's extremely social because you're standing right next to the person, and you're talking to them, and you're blasting the space or whatever. Ghostbusters is a completely different experience if you do it by yourself or if you do it with people. The first room that you go into in the Ghostbusters experience, you have a proton gun for the first time. What are you going to do? You're going to start blasting everything in the room. So by yourself in that experience, there's no conversation that's happening, and we've seen this. You put somebody in there and you start blasting stuff, they don't say anything. There might be things going on. But when I'm in there with my friends, I'm like, oh man, check this out. Oh, well, look at that. Or come over and look at this thing that just happened. I can't believe this happened. Oh, this ghost did something. It's a completely different experience when you have multiple people in that world. As the Void, we hope to extend that kind of multiplayer social experience to at home on mobile devices and VR content that we release to bring people into that world before they get to the Void and augment that world while they're in it, and then also extend it once they get home. And I think that's going to be really important for them to kind of build their avatar, their persona in that world before they go. And I think there's a lot of really cool things we're going to be doing as far as that we're kind of mimicking on some of the theme park rides where they take a picture of you on that roller coaster. In the Void, when you go through the Void, you actually receive a 30-second video of your POV and what you look like in the environment. And you can share that with your friends.
AI editors, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what we do, the four people for one space, they do see each other, and they see like an avatar representation of the other people. And what we want to experiment with is kind of events so people can come in. So what we're planning right now for the Christmas season is maybe have like a virtual snowball fight that we develop. So people can come in. I mean, we have 2 suits out for 4 players, so 8 players can play 4 versus 4, and so have special events like that and invite people. Right now we're just limited to this one location because we just opened. But if this works and then if we want to, if we can continue this, then we of course want to expand to different cities. And the tech that we're using is basically internet ready. So we would like to have stores like city versus city games and stuff like that. So those are our plans for the future.
Monica, are you through task time or